Hello geographers, this is a talk through of the new AQA A Level Geography exam paper. This covers the physical paper, paper 1, and the human paper, paper 2. It might be a really good idea to have a paper in front of you at the same time so you can follow through as I discuss some of these really important elements. The point being to build confidence so that you understand the structure of the paper that you're going to sit. It's very rigid, it'll be the same every year. But most importantly, to learn the 4 key question types that you're going to come across. So I'm not going to talk to you about technique today. If you want to learn some technique around these questions, please watch some of the other talk-through videos that look at individual questions and look at model answers and model responses. So as I talk to you today, I'm going to be talking about assessment objectives. So AO1, this is your key knowledge and understanding of concepts and processes. AO2, your ability to apply and to assess different situations. And then lastly, AO3. AO3 is largely a fieldwork element. However, in the exam papers, you will be tested on this, but they'll do this through getting you to interpret and analyse data. It might be quantitative or qualitative data. So if we start off by looking at individual sections, in each paper, so in the physical paper, you'll have to answer 3 questions. One from section A, one from section B, and one from section C. Now section A and section B are both worth 36 marks each, and section C worth 48 marks. So what that might mean is you in section A and the physical paper answer water and carbon. Section B could be coasts, and section C, one of the optional units, could be hazards. And as you can see, there is a set structure to each of these sections. You will always have a 4-mark knowledge question to start off with, followed by a 6-mark resource analysis question, followed by a 6-mark figure assess question, followed by a 20-mark evaluate question. So to have a look at each of those questions, a 4-mark knowledge question testing AO1. So this is your key understanding of processes and concepts. Might look something like this. So from the water and carbon topic, explain the concept of dynamic equilibrium in relation to the water cycle. This requires you to think back through your revision and to talk to the examiner and explain what the question means and explain the process being asked. If we have a quick look at the resource analysis question, you'll notice that this is the AO3 interpretation question. Now, there's a really set technique to answering these questions, and certainly some pitfalls that you might fall down. So I very much recommend watching a talk through of a resource analysis question. A resource analysis question might look something like this. Evaluate the usefulness of figure 5a and figure 5b in showing the nature and extent of either economic change or demographical and cultural change in this area. So this question is asking you to look at the resources, look at the figures, and decide what is useful and not useful about them, to critique them. If we were to have a look at one from the physical paper, this question is showing temperature changes in 2 separate deserts, and the question is asking you to compare how it changes. This is very much AO3 and requires set technique. The next question, a 6-mark assess, will usually be a figure assess. So this example from the coasts topic gives a picture of a coastal landscape and asks you to assess the role of mass movement upon the development of this area of the Holderness coastal landscape. In this type of question, you would get 2 marks for displaying key knowledge, followed by 4 marks for your ability to assess the situation. In this case, assess what you can see in the photo. So applying knowledge and understanding to a situation. Lastly, in section A and B, you will come across a 20-mark evaluate question. In these, you will be assessed 10 marks on your AO1, so your key knowledge, and AO2 on your ability to apply, interpret, and evaluate in relation to the question. So a good example, the top one. Assess the extent to which there are interrelationships between processes in the water cycle and factors driving change in the carbon cycle. So again, set technique. Please watch a talk through for this type of question to build confidence in answering them. Now, section C is ever so slightly different in that it's worth more marks and the question types are slightly different. Instead of having a 4-mark knowledge question, you will have 4 1-mark multiple choice questions. You would have the same resource analysis style question as before. Your assess questions become 9 markers, and I'll talk about those again in a minute. And then lastly, you'll end with a 20-mark evaluate question. So, the 9-mark assessment questions. The key difference is you may get a figure to assess, or it may just be a statement that you need to assess or discuss. Now, one of these questions in the optional section C will ask you to discuss links within a unit, and I'll show you an example in a minute. The other question may ask you to discuss links between different units. So that might be between hazards and globalization, or hazards and changing places, and I'll show you those now. So an example of a 9-mark figure assess with a link in a unit is this. To what extent do you agree that seismic events will always generate more widespread and severe impacts than volcanic events? In this question, you're comparing earthquakes and volcanoes. You gain 4 marks for your AO1, your knowledge of key concepts and processes, 5 marks for your ability to assess and address the question. Now, the next question is very different. This is testing links between different units. Assess the importance of factors in globalization in supporting the response to major seismic hazards. This is asking you to apply your understanding of hazards with your understanding of the globalization topic. So, as a summary, this table clearly shows a small number of questions that isn't obvious at first. There are set techniques, as I've said, for each different type of question. Please watch other talk-throughs to gain an understanding of this. Thank you very much.